The memory of one of New York City's bravest living on through the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Stephen Siller had just left his firehouse after his shift when he heard the towers were hit. He strapped on 60 pounds of gear and ran nearly 2 miles through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to the burning scene, ultimately giving his life, saving others.
His brother, Frank, has spent every single day since then ensuring his memory lives on by establishing the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And he joins us now from Lower Manhattan. Good morning to you, Frank.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, thank you.
It's very.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's a very sad day being down here. You know, we're right by the tunnel here, and you know, earlier this morning before the sun came up, I was able to walk through that tunnel and be alone with my brother, go down to ground zero, say my prayer, and thank him for his sacrifice for what he did. You see all the names of all those great souls that paid the ultimate sacrifice, you know, the first responders and then everyday people that just went to work that day that died. And we can never forget what happened 22 years ago today. And you know that's the first mission at Tunnel to Towers Foundation, is that we never forget what happened when these Islamic terrorists tried to kill as many Americans as possible. And they did kill 2,977. They did kill nearly 3,000 more that died of 9/11 cancer. And they did kill of over 7,000 men and women that went to war because of what happened here on 9/11 that gave their lives ever since. And you know what? Tunnel to Towers Foundation, we swear to you that we'll take care of all those families and those kids that are left behind, because that's what my brother would want to do.
And cops and firefighters, too. So tell me about how Stephen's family doing.
Stephen's family is doing really good. I mean, he's got, you know, my brother was married. He had 5 kids. One of his daughters just got engaged recently. They were all very successful. They were hard workers. They're beautiful people. And my sister-in-law did an unbelievable job. They were surrounded by a lot of love. We're a very large family, and we try to lift them as much as possible, but they are really great individuals. It's beautiful to watch.
Stephen, I see that cross on your lapel, and talk to me about the role faith has played in what you're doing for Stephen. What you do with your foundation, how you manage these 22 years in helping us never forget.
Well, this is God and country. We know how many people die for our country and died. No greater love than give up your life for a friend. And that's what so many people did on 9/11. So my parents were very spiritual, very religious parents. They brought us up, the 7 kids. They brought us up to realize what service and sacrifice and do for others. St. Francis of Assisi, they were Franciscans, and my parents, and St. Francis of Assisi said, brothers and sisters, while we have time, let us do good. And that's what we decided to do at the foundation. We want goodness to triumph over evil. We want to take that evil act on 9/11, and we know there were so many beautiful acts of heroism and selflessness and the ultimate sacrifice that was made that day. That's what we want to remember. That's what we want to honor, and we want to honor it by doing good. And what better way? 22 mortgage-free homes we delivered today, over 200 this year, over 1,000 the last couple of years. And, you know, all the work that we're doing, you know, your viewers, you know it. Your viewers are watching now, and they're saying, oh, that's right, Stephen, you know, Frank's brother Stephen ran through that tunnel. Well, without him running through that tunnel, we don't pay off all these mortgages. There's no question about it. There's no other foundation in America that's doing what we're doing, taking care of all our first responders who die in the line of duty and leave young kids behind, and we're paying their mortgages all over America to take care of Gold Star widows that loved ones died, and they leave young families behind, and taking care of those families and building them a home if they don't have one. If they do, we pay off their mortgages. If you give your body for your country, you're catastrophically injured, or you're a first responder and you're catastrophically injured, we're going to build you a smart home. There wasn't a foundation like this. It was born from the sacrifice my brother made, but not just to my brother, but so many others that paid the ultimate sacrifice and the act of courage. When those firefighters were going in those buildings, they were hugging their brothers, and they weren't saying, I'll see you later. They were saying goodbye, because they knew there was a strong possibility they were going to die, and so many of them did die. But they still went in there knowing that there was a strong possibility they weren't going home to see their families. We better take care of these families. And that is the promise that we made at Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And because of the relationship that we have with Fox, and there's no doubt, without this relationship, we could never do the work that we're doing. Without this relationship, we couldn't do the work we're doing. So it is not over. It'll never be over. And we must always never forget.
Frank, your parents clearly did a great job raising their children because you're doing such great work. You're doing God's work. You're helping so many families. And your brother was willing to run through that tunnel, grab his gear, and go and save other people's lives and sacrificed his own as a result. I know you said you go through the tunnel every year, you say prayers, and you talk to your brother. I'd love to know, what would you say to your brother, and what would be his reaction if he knew how many families, because when you're in law enforcement or first responder and you lose your paycheck, and your wife is left behind and she doesn't know how to pay a mortgage, you're changing her life, you're relieving that burden. One more worry, less worry for her. What would your brother say? What would you say to him?
Well, I know he's proud of what his siblings have done ever since he made that great run, heroic run through that tunnel. He's proud of what we're doing. Honestly, we didn't know we were going to do all this work. We really didn't know it. You know, if we as people, as Americans, just listen to our God above us, they put us on a path. All we have to do is listen, and we could help each other in such beautiful ways. And, you know, Stephen was on a path that day. He was on a mission. He paid the ultimate sacrifice. He met his destiny that day. Well, you know what? Our destiny also is to take up his cross, take up the cross of our Maker, and to make sure that we take care of all these families. And it's the least we could do. It's something that it's not work. It's not work. It's beautiful to be around these families. I'm around them all the time. They inspire me. They start their own foundations. You know, we have the run here on September 24th, you know, through the tunnel where we retrace Stephen's final heroic footsteps. We have nearly 40,000 people. We have hundreds and hundreds of 9/11 families come, and they run in honor of their loved ones. This Tunnel to Towers run here on September 24th, there's maybe 1,000 other stories in there that people come down to honor their loved ones. That's what we love about our foundation. We want to make sure that we honor everybody who willing to risk their life and their body for us, and all too often do. So I know he's smiling down. He's given me the strength. He's given his siblings the strength. And believe me, we know our work isn't done, so we continuously pray to God and for Stephen. I say my brother Stephen's guy has God's right ear, and he's saying, come on. He just said Frank just said he's going to eradicate homelessness amongst our veterans. You know, that's a big task. We need the help. And he's going to open up these doors. There's no doubt that he's going to open up these doors for us because it's necessary. We need to get it done, and I know we will because of the kindness and generosity of other Americans.
And Frank, you asked for just $11 on 9/11. Just go to where? T2T.org right now.
So I don't ask about money on 9/11, to be quite frank with you. You can ask people to do that, but I ask you to join us on our mission. That's what I ask. Join us on this mission. Let's take care of these great families that are left behind for those who died for you and I, and together we can get it done.
All right. And Frank, I'm going to be at that race. I hope you don't mind. I'm probably going to win it.
Well,
I don't know about that. We could start you a little bit earlier.
that's exactly right, Frank. That's
Frank,
exactly
thank
right.
you so much. I love the pictures of your brother. He looked like a fun guy.
Yeah.
All of his friends carrying him sideways, and he looked so cute.
Well, listen. So that's why the 24th. When we run through the tunnel afterwards, we remember, we honor, but then we have a big celebration because not only was my brother nuts, so all these other first responders and our military guys and women.
That is why we love them.
They have a certain level of craziness in them, and that's why we always got to celebrate their lives, and we will be that day.
Yeah.
I call it the miracle of the loaves and fishes because we feed 40,000 people.
Love
All right.
And Lady A's coming this year too. So.
All right. Frank Siller, thanks so much.
Thank you,
Tunnel to
Frank.
Towers. Always appreciate having you on.